melt your belly fat in 10 days, or lose 10 kilos in about 2 weeks. Or try a diet of cucumber and eggs and you will lose around 4 kilos in 2 days. Oh wait, I think that is tomatoes and eggs. And I know many of you have heard this maybe on social media or even otherwise, because most of these diets do come out as a new trend. But here's the thing, that most of these diets are just fads, and some of them you will regret trying them in the next 5 years. And if you don't believe me, well, don't worry, but just stick around, because I'm going to tell you some of these diets that are going to do you more harm than good, and why you should avoid just getting into the hype of them. So let's get started. Now let's start with the very first offender, and that is your juice cleanses. Now a lot of you might be sipping on those green juices and feeling really cool, like you're doing something very healthy for your body, and you might be thinking that, wait, if I have these green juices, it will remove all the toxins from my system and I will detoxify my body, and also I will lose a lot of kilos. And maybe that's the secret to achieve the dream body that I always wanted. But hold on, because your body already has an inbuilt detox system, which such a beautiful design, and that is your liver, kidneys, and your lungs. For those who didn't know this, well, you're welcome. So when you do something like a juice cleanse, it will show you a temporary drop in your weighing scale. But most of that weight that you lose is water weight. And later, when you start reintroducing food back again into your system, boom, the weight comes back again. Plus, think of anyone who just survives on juicing all day. First of all, you lose your focus, you lack energy, and also you feel a little groggy. And on the other end, you will not get to enjoy that solid meal that you would really like on a daily basis. And I'm not saying that juice cleanses are bad. Of course, they are good, because in one way they help your inbuilt detox system become a little more efficient. But when it comes to you losing weight, it's not really the best option. Next up that we have are the restrictive diets that eliminate almost an entire food group. I'm talking about diets that will bash one macronutrient over the other. Let's say we've all heard that carbs are bad. Some of them would demonize fat and say maybe don't really have fatty foods are not really good. And on the other end, some will say only have a high protein diet. While all these diets might show you a lot of initial results, but in the long term, none of them are really sustainable. And most of the time, in the long run, they can all lead to serious nutritional deficiencies. Let's take a keto diet, which majorly will focus more on the fat and the protein and will ignore a lot of the carbs. Now, don't get me wrong, that keto diet has surely worked for a lot of people, but in the long term, people who have continued and followed the keto diet have seen a lot of nutritional deficiencies. Not just that, they've also seen a lot of increased cholesterol and also a lot of kidney problems, especially if you are not careful. Plus, at the end, let's be real, because you cannot cut carbs forever. And when I'm talking about carbs, I'm talking about your fruits and vegetables are something that you cannot remove them out of your life forever. Plus, let's be real, how sustainable would it be for you to remove carbs completely out of your life? Plus, you have to look at your body like a car. You cannot have the biggest battery of that car and have a Maruti 800 engine and then just have Lamborghini tires. You have to make sure that that entire car is very well balanced. And the same thing goes with your food. Your body is almost like the vehicle, and everything around it needs to be balanced. So whether it's your fats, your proteins, or your carbs, somehow they all need to be balanced, so that at any point you're not really nutritional deficient, and you're also getting the proper inflow of nutrients and micronutrients in your body. So when it comes to any of these extreme diets, just try and avoid them, especially if they pull you to a certain extreme where you only have to consume a lot of fat or you only have to consume high carbs. So try to follow something that is more on the lines of balance, because in the long run it is more sustainable for you. Then there is the next thing, which is your diet pill craze. Now, I'm sure you must have seen a lot of ads that tell you that you're going to lose 10 kilos if you have this diet pill and you don't even need to exercise. Some of them will even claim that this pill will directly enter your body and it will target your fat and it will burn all that fat magically, so you can eat whatever you want, because this pill is going to do the job what you cannot do otherwise. And doesn't that really sound amazing? Because, well, I don't need to exercise, I don't need to do anything, I can eat whatever I want, all I need to do is just have this pill. But it sounds too good to be true, right? That is because it is. In fact, there is a study that also shows that either diet pills don't work, or they really cause a lot of these nasty side effects like your headaches, your heart palpitations, or even your liver damage. So you might think that, okay, I'll have this pill and it will solve my problem, but most of it is not what you really signed up for. Most of these pills are really high on caffeine, and many of them don't even have the kind of research that's needed to even prove the point of it helping you lose weight. But because they have the green flag to sell it, and while studies are still in progress, well, people still buy it. So that's why if you've ever tried any of those pills, you will feel a lot of your body heat just coming out because it increases thermogenesis. Plus, most of these pills, if you see, they don't really have a lot of research done on them, especially with all the claims that are being made that they will really help you lose that weight or burn that fat. So really try to just stay away from all this diet pill craze because most of them don't really have hard evidence. And all of that you see is just pure marketing. And literally, we're not going to get into how unregulated these pills are. And just because it says natural doesn't mean it's safe. So just try and stay away from this as much as you can. Even with these pills, I once remember that I tried one of those fat burning pills. And I thought that, wow, it's going to work very well. My fat is just going to go. I'm going to get that beach body. And I also thought that, wow, it's going to boost my metabolism. Trust me, the only thing that it boosted was my anxiety levels at 3 a.m. I felt jittery, I couldn't sleep. And late in the night, I ended up ordering food because it made me feel hungry. So, this is me eating like at 3 a.m. So, me trusting this pill, hoping that it would help me burn my fat, did the complete opposite. Best way is to go the natural, effective way, which is a combination of eating healthy, your regular exercise, sleep really well, and just make sure your lifestyle is in track because honestly, there is no shortcut to it. Now, let's go with the next, and that is your trending hacks or trending diet hacks. Now, a lot of times we go on maybe your social media, whether it's your Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, any other place that you go to, and you see these diets that are just trending at that point of time. Some of them might just tell you to replace a lot of your meals with certain pills or certain coffees or certain shakes. And again, they will help you in the short term when it comes to you losing weight because most of the time you'll be losing a lot of your water weight. But most of them lack a lot of scientific evidence when it comes to these trends that are just roaming around very freely. And the major problem with them is because people are always looking for a quick fix, so they also will develop a lot of problems when it comes to their eating, which is where you see people suddenly turn up with a lot of disordered behaviors when it comes to their eating. They also really have a lot of nutritional deficiencies, and they also see that sudden change in their body, not just when it comes to losing weight but also the way their skin, their hair, everything overall behaves. So when it comes to most of these social media diet hacks, just try and maybe try them if you want to, but don't make it a part of a habit, especially when there is no scientific backed evidence supporting those claims. Now, there was this diet a long time ago I tried, which just told me that I just need to have tomatoes and eggs, and that would be good enough when it comes for me losing weight in about a week. 2 days into that diet, I literally lost my mind and I also lost my will to live after having that diet. So, whatever you do, just try and not follow most of these diets because, again, they are not really sustainable. They sound very good for that short term, but you don't really want to get into it. Always look at weight loss for a long term. And it's not just with keto diet, but even if you have ultra high protein diet, you have to understand that most of us, again, are not really bodybuilders, so we don't really require that much amount of protein because we're not going to pose in front of anyone at our workplace. And you have to understand that when you increase some levels, whether you increase extremely high protein or you're increasing too much of fats in your system or you're increasing too much of carbs, there is a balance that just goes off, and one or the other organ has to work over time. So if you have a super high protein diet, well, your kidneys are going to overwork, and that can also cause a lot of problems when it comes to your kidneys. Make sure that everything is a balance. But even more studies like this show that a crash diet literally will slow down your metabolism, making it not just harder for you to maintain the diet, but also harder for your body to keep the weight off. And last but not the least, we have extreme intermittent fasting. Now, I'm not saying that intermittent fasting is bad because I myself do intermittent fasting, but there's also a way to do it. Thing when it comes to intermittent fasting is that people who try it, many of them go on another extreme altogether, which instead of it being helpful to you, just becomes more harmful. For example, in the time that you're supposed to be eating, people don't really end up eating a lot of good food that will support your body when it comes to providing you with a lot of those nutrients. What a lot of them would end up doing is having any kind of food which is not even nutritional dense, which doesn't really help your body, and indirectly your intermittent fasting is just going down the drain. So if you're eating a lot of crappy food and you're doing intermittent fasting, it's also not going to help you, because in the end, you have to eat something more nutritionally dense. And also, on the other end of the spectrum, if you're just going to fast and not understanding when your body's going in the state of starvation, that is another problem, which is why people really need to educate themselves on understanding how to really fast and how fasting needs to be done, so that at no point you are nutritionally deficient, at no point you have any hormonal dysfunction that's happening, and at no point it's taking a toll on your mental health. Because even study shows that prolonged fasting can also lead to nutritional deficiencies. So in the end, what is the takeaway? Well, all of these diets are very good when it comes to short term results. But if you really want lasting change and you want long term sustainable results, you have to put in the work. You have to educate yourself as to what really is good and what is not. Because in the end, you have to understand that balance is the key, and it's not about going to either extremes. So focus on whole foods, focus on portion control, also focus on the time and the routine of your day where you can also exercise, where you can also sleep on time, and just having a good routine for yourself, because you will see results in the long term. And in today's convenient world, even though we want everything really quickly, understand that your body will show you the results, but give it some time. And if any of these diets just sound too good to be true, well, it probably is. So instead of you chasing a miracle diet, just build some really good habits that also help you enjoy the food, help you enjoy the routine, and stays with you for a longer time. Because diet trends will always keep coming and they're always going to confuse you. So just don't fall for it, and also keep questioning it. And if you like this video, do check out any other video on this channel when it comes to health. And until we meet again next, don't stress and be awesome. Rocher that.